Okay, good morning, everybody. So good to be here with you. And I am super excited to be able to visit with our formulator, Mr. Zane Gray. Zane, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning. We have a lot of excitement going on about a new product that we just released, and I want to jump right in and talk about that product so that people who are with us here today or they're tuning into us later have an opportunity to hear from you. So I appreciate you spending some time with me.
My pleasure.
You have been in and around formulation, developing products. When you and I talked and I said, tell me what your titles are, you were like, well, I don't really have any titles. I thought I wanted to be in the medical field, and now you've ended up here. So real quickly, just tell everybody a little bit about you and how you found yourself here.
So my brother's a doctor, and he's an eye doctor, and I wanted to be an eye doctor, right? He's 16 years older than me. So I was trying to follow in his footsteps. I was going to university, pre-med student, taking biology, chemistry. And I basically got to the point where I had a decision to make. I was going to either take the MCAT and go to medical school, or I was going to take the OAT and go to optometry school. And listening to my brother, we were talking about it, and it kind of just this weird moment in time where the FDA approved the excimer laser for PRK and LASIK eye surgery. And there was a company that moved into Utah, where I live, that was buying a laser, and they needed somebody to run the laser, but you had to go through all these certifications and training. And my brother was like, I'd worked for him from the time I was 16 years old until now I'm, 22, 23. And he's like, man, you should go work in surgery to see if, before you go to medical school, you should go see if you want to do surgery. So I ended up going and taking all the tests and getting certified. I was one of the first people licensed to run an excimer laser, and it was pretty strict. I think anybody can walk off the street and do it today, but when it was brand new, right, the FDA is highly regulating it. And so I became licensed. So I worked with over 30 different eye surgeons from actually not just Utah, but around Colorado, Nevada, because nobody had lasers at that time. And they would come in and we would do surgery. And I took a sabbatical from school, deciding whether I was going to take the MCAT or the OAT, and never went back. And so I didn't end up going to medical school. I took my chemistry and biology, and I started working with these doctors. And I realized, I don't know that I want their life. Right. I love them, but it's crazy. And so I developed something called a nomogram, which was, I worked with some doctors. We did some studies, and I was heavily involved in that. And then, there were other issues that people came up with. For example, I think I mentioned in what I was telling you, the Demodex, which is a little bug that people get mites in their eyelashes. Some doctors were struggling, and I was like, I think I can make a product, and I can use chemistry, and we can formulate a product. So that was one of the very first products I made, was the product that kills those bugs. It's a skin cleanser for women mostly, but men as well. And so I started formulating almost out of accident. And then people would call me and say, hey, can you make this, or can you make that? And I tinkered. And then I partnered with a team that makes products. And then I got some phone calls. And this is probably one of the highlights of my life, was I got phone calls from some doctors that said, we need help with cancer research. And we're going to take a different approach than chemotherapy and radiation. And so I did that, and yeah.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Well, I wanted everybody to hear that, because as you and I, when we first met, we're a new relationship, but I've been around this industry for a long time, and I've met lots of formulators. I've met lots of different, types of products. And the thing that I loved about you, Zane, and still love about you, is that your heart is like in this. You made the decision to go this pathway in your life because you really do want to make a difference. And that matters, guys. If you've been around different products, there's those that are simply just trying to make a product to make some money. And then there's those that really want an outcome. And I got to tell you, Zane, this product we're going to talk about today, I'm still in shock. Like I literally am in shock at what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing. So let's jump into it. Tell us a little bit about it. We're talking about our product that we've just literally launched today. There's been a handful of people that have been testing it for about the past month. It's called Wow. Tell us a story about the product.
Yeah. So it all kind of is weird how it all evolved and came about. But basically, here I was making products and developing products. I developed over 80, at this point, I've developed over 80 different products for 14 plus different companies.
Wow.
I love it. It's a lot of fun. And this happened. It's like your children. You never see you want to have a favorite kid, but this is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Right? So as I'm doing this cancer research and we're working on different things that for cancer, I came across some studies. So one of the studies was done in 2016 by INSERM, INSERM, and they did a study with 50,000 people that were struggling to lose weight. And I don't know if you can tell from the video screen, but I'm a bigger guy. I'm the smallest guy in my family, right? My family, and I was always kind of like, oh, I'm big boned. It's genetics, right? I kind of had all these things, and
yeah,
it's been a struggle in my family. Diabetes runs rampant through my family, and I didn't want to be that guy, but I'm definitely the smallest guy in my family. And I read this study, and they scientifically proved that you can help people lose weight if, and this is what they said, if you just eat when you're hungry, you eat for fuel. You don't eat because you're stressed. You don't eat because you're bored. You listen to your hunger and eat when you're hungry. You don't eat because of emotion. If you do that, you can eat without restriction. And I'd never really done a lot of dieting, mostly because I didn't want to do it. I just kind of ate what I wanted. But that was the thing that really intrigued me with this study, was that people can eat what they want. Because I've had so many friends that are yo-yos, right? I'm keto, I'm going to eat meat, that's it, or whatever.
Right.
But I ate a piece of pizza and it threw it off, or I'm going to fast, or I'm going to do this, right? And they just kind of bounce. It's this yo-yo thing.
Yeah.
And so when I read this study, it got me thinking. And then again, because we were working with cancer research, I was doing a lot of study on the endocannabinoid system. And so, a lot of people maybe know what that is, and maybe you've never even heard of that. But just like your body has a respiratory system and a circulatory system and an immune system, your body has this thing called the endocannabinoid system. And that's what we were really focused on in cancer research. And then I started reading studies that were talking about cancer research. And then there was a study done in 2000, I want to say it was 2006, that said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it here, but it's 2008, and I do have it. I was going to see if I saved it, but 2008, in this journal of neuroendocrinology, said that the endocannabinoid system is integrated into the control of appetite and food intake.
Wow.
And when I read that, I was like, okay, wait a second. I know the study that INSERM did was incredible on, I want to be able to eat what I want, but I don't want to be restricted in what I eat, but I still want to lose weight.
Right.
Then I read this study that said this endocannabinoid system is directly linked. Now, I'm going to make this really simple. I think I kind of knew that, because the endocannabinoid system has two receptors. You have something called the CB1 receptor and a CB2 receptor. CB1 is primarily found in the brain and the nervous system. CB2 is primarily found throughout the rest of your body. And everybody knows, right? The running joke is if you smoke weed, not only do you get high, but you get the munchies.
Right.
And the reason is because it binds to the CB1 receptor and it turns it on and says, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And when I started reading these studies, I was like, there's got to be something that turns off that receptor.
Wow.
Right. There's, if we turn it on and get people hungry, there's a way, can we turn it off? And so I spent 2 years in research trying to figure out how could I turn that off. And then I started reading more studies. I mean, there's more studies that say, look, obesity is tied to the overproduction of endocannabinoids or the unregulation of that receptor. And so I created a formula that would turn off the receptor. In its simplest terms, that's it. I turn off your receptor, and then I use a couple other things to kind of get, your body going, get, some thermogenesis, that type of stuff. And I got it into the hands of a doctor that we were working on. She was working with diabetes patients. We kind of hoped it would work with about 50% of the people. We had a 95% success rate, like right out of the gate. And I was like, we can change lives. We have a game changer.
I want you to say that again, because that's a huge statement, right? companies have massive success at a 50% success rate.
Oh yeah.
So you did this study, and there was 95% of the people who participated in that study experienced what? Weight loss.
Lowered their A1C levels. We were lowering all of their diabetes numbers are coming down. Their cholesterol numbers are coming down. And it was a very high success rate, which we didn't expect.
Yeah.
And I was excited about it. But yeah, we're in America, we're highly regulated, all this stuff. And so I started presenting to doctors, and doctors were very intrigued, but they always are like, well, we got to run it through all the clinical trials. We got to do all this stuff.
Right.
And it's like, it's millions of dollars and years down the road. Right.
Right.
And for me, I was looking for somebody to help me. I knew we had something cool, but I needed to get it out to the masses.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I'm not that guy. I don't know how to do any of that. And I was very fortunate. Now, I will tell you, since that day, I've had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 iterations. We've tweaked. And we're continuing to do that. I will say this, if you take it today, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, if it's the exact same as it is today, I'm not doing my job. Right. Because I'm trying to make it better. As you said, people have tried this and it's working. And it is. That's people always like, why is it different? And in its simplest terms, I turned off your receptor that says I'm hungry.
That you're hungry.
And it makes it so everybody that, and I think you can probably even attest to this as someone who's taken the product, it's different. It's a different thing than what most other people have ever tried. Even your amazing husband, who I've just grown to love. And he even told me, like, we sat and he's like, Zane, this is doing something. It's just different than anything I've ever had. Like my relationship to food, the way I feel, the way he's like, it's incredible. And it made me so happy to hear that. And so,
and I will just tell you, I mean, Bill and I have been together 13 years. He's tried everything. I mean, everything. It even got to the point where I'm like, I am not going to learn a whole new way to cook so that can lose weight. Like we had 2 separate meals, 2 separate, he's tried everything and was never able to move it. Or if he moved it, he would move it for a very short period of time. And then but with tons of effort, right? And money. So that's the thing. Let's go back to, you were looking for somebody. What I love about our industry is that some of the best products in the marketplace, the best products in the world, are found through situations like Govvi, right? Because we're not tied to all that regulation and being, and going out there. The FDA wants their hand in it, all of that. So I've always loved that. It's been one of the things that's attracted me to this industry, because I knew that I was going to get a really superior product most of the time. Right.
And I will say this, like, it's interesting because we're making the product and doing it. We're an FDA approved facility, right? We follow the guidelines. We do everything that they're asked. We're CGMP certified. We do everything that's asked of us. But, when they start looking at natural medicine, for lack of a better word, when they start looking at natural remedies, I would even say, there's just, and there's pros and cons to that. Like, I sometimes wish they'd step in and regulate stuff more.
Sure.
I've literally taken products off the shelf and bought stuff and tested it at labs, and it doesn't have what it says. And that's unfortunate. And that's what gives this industry sometimes a bad name.
Sure.
And so I always say, like, I preach a couple of things. Number one, I always say the most expensive product in the world is the product you take that doesn't work. Right. That's true. It doesn't matter if this one's 20 and this one's 100. If I buy the 20 one that doesn't work, then it's more expensive than the 100 that works. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
The second thing I've always said is, and by the way, the pricing is incredible, number one, but I've always said it's always easier to explain price than apologize for quality.
Yep.
For quality.
100%. That's great. So, I love that. I had
always rather say, hey, maybe this is 5% cheap or 5% more expensive, which, by the way, I know the pricing, you guys are killing it. You're less expensive than everybody. It's going to be amazing. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about. You guys.
We're doing it right.
Right. You are. And So I know there's going to be questions.
Yeah. Let's jump into a couple things. The first thing I noticed when I started taking it, I noticed a few things. Number one, I'm so thirsty all the time. I'm so thirsty.
Good.
And, you know, honestly, for me, I think for everybody, that's a good thing. But for me specifically, it's a really good thing because, well, I'm just going to put it this way. At 55 years old, 6 children, I started reducing the amount of liquid I drank because I felt like I had to go to the bathroom all the time. Right. And so over a period of years, if I had 2 glasses of water a day, I was doing good. I mean, it just got to that point. Sure. So now I'm like so thirsty, but I can tell it's making a difference. Talk to us about that.
Good. I'm glad you're thirsty. That's your body saying, I need fluid. If you are thirsty, you're way too dehydrated, right?
Yeah.
You need to hydrate.
Yeah.
And I always say, now think about this. Here's what we're tasked with. I'm tasked with helping people lose weight. By the way, I've lost 24 pounds myself and I've got 35 more to go. But I always say I'm tasked with helping you lose weight, but I'm going to say, but you don't have to exercise. You don't have to, you can eat what you want. Imagine trying to something. You can eat what you want and you don't have to exercise. How in the world am I going to get you to lose weight? Well, really, I got to get rid of fat cells. How do we get rid of fat cells? Well, you either got to sweat it out or pee it out. Right.
Yeah.
And so I want you to be, if you're feeling thirsty, drink. Good. We're going to get rid of fat cells that way. And I don't want you to be thirsty. So that means you need to drink more, which you need to hydrate more. And you sound like my wife. My wife can take a sip of water and pee 4 times. Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay.
Not fun.
I always tell people like, that is a bit of a side effect is I want you drinking because I want you to flush your system. I want you to clean. I want you to get rid of those fat cells. We're trying to burn energy without, and it's, there's a fine line too here. Like I want you to burn energy without giving you a heart attack. Right.
Right.
Ephedra was an incredible product. It really was. I actually think ephedra is an amazing product, but if you misused it, we're blowing people's hearts out. That's not our goal. We don't want to do that. So
the other thing I noticed was that I felt like I was losing that brain fog.
Yeah.
One of the things about me, different than Bill. If Bill hears something works, he's all over it, man. He's taking it. He's compliant. He does it all the time. I'm like the worst patient. I'm not compliant. I hate swallowing pills. I am that person, right? That I want my life to be better, but if I have to take 15 pills to do it, well, then it's just not happening. Right. So taking all these different products and helping my brain function and all that stuff, I was just like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. So I lived with it. I accepted it. But I noticed when I took this, I feel like something's lifting. What is that that's happening?
Yeah. A lot of people will say this. They're like, I have clean energy. That's what I hear. I have clean focus. It's clean, like this feeling of, they just call it clean energy. I would say the same. Again, some of the ingredients that we have are designed to balance your blood sugar levels. Some of the ingredients in there are designed to give you some energy, right? And a little thermogenesis, a little bit of niacin, a little bit of teocrine to give you kind of some focus and energy. And then I'm also balancing your brain with talking, we're talking to that receptor. And that helps a lot of people say, I've got more clarity, more focus. I know we're kind of talking about this as a weight loss product. I get that, right? But my favorite testimonials with people who call me and say, you know what, I've been taking it for 2 weeks. I don't care if I lose weight or not. I just feel great.
Wow.
I feel better. I have more energy, I have more focus. I feel better. I got rid of the brain fog. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the people who are like, I lost 10 pounds, but at the same time too, like one of my favorite testimonials I got this last week was from a lady who called me. She's like, Zane, I've been taking this for 2 weeks. And I'm going to tell you, I stood on the scale and I weighed the exact same after 2 weeks. And I was like, man, bummer. I'm sorry. She goes, no. My bra's not cutting into me anymore. My pants fit better. I feel great. And I look different. She's like, I look different. She's like, on the scale, which the scale is always, an arbitrary way to say, look, I lost 10 pounds, 5 pounds. And sometimes people get so hung up on the scale. And I get that. But I want you to notice how you feel. How are you feeling better? Are we getting rid of brain fog? I mean, think about all the people that have gone through COVID that have kind of long-term COVID or having brain fog that you're talking about, or menopause, right? My wife in menopause and some struggles there. And women understand cycles too, probably better than men, right? Our bodies have these cycles. And so that call that I fielded was, maybe a week or two ago about she'd gone 2 weeks, things were fitting better. And then she called me again. It's like, hey, I lost 4 pounds the last week. And I was like, oh, awesome. And, she was just kind of catching it at the wrong part of the cycle. And so just understand, like, again, we have really high success rate. And I almost don't want you to lose 10 pounds in a week, right? I want you to lose 2 or 4. And then next week, I want you to lose 2 or 4. And then it would be awesome if you lost 10 pounds in a month, especially because I'm not saying, you've got to change your diet. I mean, that's great. I would love it. And that is one other thing I will tell you. Most people will tell me, and I think even Bill told me this, he's like, it's changed the way I feel about food. I eat more for fuel. My brain is like re-engaging and saying, I need this for fuel. I don't need this because I'm craving it. He was telling me about going to the Super Bowl and how he was like, yeah, I didn't really munch and eat all the munchies like everybody else. I didn't need to. I didn't feel like I needed to. I know for me, I could never go fill up my car with gas without grabbing a Pepsi and a candy bar. And now I go to I go fill up my car with gas. I'm like, I don't really need it. I don't really feel that.
Isn't that interesting?
Had people who are like, I will never exercise. I'm like, that's fine, no problem. And then they call me and they're like, you know what? I feel good. I lost 7 pounds. I'm going to start exercising. Right? I'm like, cool.
So I'm going to just tell everybody who's listening in today, again, thank you for joining us. If you have a specific question that we haven't covered, drop it in the chat. And if time permits, we'll ask those questions to Zane. Zane, let's talk about, is this any age, it doesn't matter who takes it, or tell us a little bit about.
So here's a couple other things, right? It is very hard to give a one size fits all.
Yeah.
I mean, we always say 2 capsules a day, and that helps most people. If you're a bigger person, you might need 3, right? If you're a smaller person, you might need 1. 2 is kind of the number that, arbitrarily we came up with the doctors and said, this is kind of fine. So just understand, listen to your body. I always say, listen to your body, see what you need. My wife can take 1. She takes 1. If she takes it after 2, if she takes it after noon, she's going to be awake till 2 p.m. There's some stimulants in there, right? So for her, she's like me, I can take it at 8 p.m. and go to bed, like just different. And everybody's body's different. So I always say, look, if you're pregnant, don't take it. My job is not to help pregnant people like lose weight, right? And I really don't want that. As with any supplement, I'm required to always say, like, consult with your doctor and it's a supplement, right? Yeah. I mean, I've got a ton of people that have had teenagers take it and use it that were struggling with, weight and food choices and had great success. I'm not real big on little kids using stuff, even just because it's got a bunch of stimulants in it, right? It's got theacrine, it's got caffeine, and I'm not real big on young kids taking it. Could they? Yeah, but again, I'm not a fan of that personally.
Okay. Talk to us. You did this study with diabetics. So if we had somebody that's watching here that is either type 1 or type 2 diabetic, is this product something that they should use? It sounds like from your study.
Yes. We 100%. 100% was type 2 diabetics that we did it with. That unfortunately was a private study done by a private doctor who paid for everything. And so I can talk about it, but I can't really use that as like, here you go. It's not my study to do. She did it. She paid for it. She, bought all the stuff. So it's her. She was really trying to work. She's out of Harvard, and we're working on a bunch of stuff out of the country with people trying to help. So that was the idea behind it. Yeah. I mean, if you're type 2, because here's the thing, and this is the statistic in America, if you're over 40, 80% of people over 40 in America are high blood pressure, diabetes, or overweight. One of the 3, if not 2 or 3 of the 3. So that means 80% of Americans over age 40 this is a great product for them. This is a great product. So who can be on that? Like, the world is wide open, right? I don't know the statistics throughout the world, but I know in America, that's a big deal. And I would say, that, yeah, I'm a big believer in, like, try it, use it. Here's the other thing that'll happen too. After a couple months, you're going to dip, and then your body's going to level. Just be aware of this, because your body's going to get kind of like, you lose 10, 15, 20 pounds if you need to. And all of a sudden your body's going to freak out and go, wait, time out, hold on. And you're going to hit this plateau usually for about 30 days. Just stay on it. And then boom, come down and go. So
Perfect. So I apologize if you said this and I didn't catch it, but type 1 diabetics, they can use this product as well.
Yeah. And type 1, again, it's not, I haven't done enough. I'm just being dead honest. I haven't done enough research with type 1 diabetes, and how this affects that. Really, type 1, most of the time, this is really designed as a weight loss. And a lot of type 1 people that I've met aren't necessarily struggling with weight, but
I've actually met a lot that are.
Yeah, I was going to say, but then you get some more too. So
again,
anything that can help with weight loss, I think is going to help with a lot of that stuff. So.
Okay, awesome. We had somebody in the chat ask if this was an all natural product. How would you address that?
I'm not sure what your definition of that is.
Right.
But
that's why I kind of smiled.
What's your definition? Every ingredient is naturally sourced from plants. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's see.
Got to make sure. I'm thinking about the formula really quick. If I have any animal product in there, but yeah, plants. We don't do any lab creation. If that's the.
Hey, awesome. You mentioned niacin. I've heard about, the niacin flush. I'm not sure I really know what it is.
Gets the blood going. It's like gets the blood going, gets things moving, and that's, I love niacin for that reason. It just kind of gets everything. It's like boom, I'm getting.
So when somebody experiences that, that's what's happening.
Yeah,
right?
If you get that kind of feeling right at first, like, ooh, it's the niacin's kicking in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at the chat here. How many people were in that initial study? Do you know, Zane? I know you just said somebody else did it.
We did it for about 2,500 people.
Wow.
So
that's a big number. Okay. Awesome. Is the aloe stabilized? We don't have aloe in this product, do we?
Not in this product, no.
Okay. Yeah. You're actually thinking of another product, which then leads me to the next question or the next thing I want to talk about.
Those two, by the way, are designed to work together.
I know. And I want to talk about that just really quickly. For all of our audience here watching, what I have the privy knowledge of what we're doing here at Govvi is you're creating a few complementary products.
Not giving any secrets, but there may be more. I don't
know. And those are coming right in the future, but specifically designed to work in connection with one another. So what I love about that is that this is not just a temporary fix. This is going to help with your brain fog, your clarity, your relationship with food moving forward in your life. And then you're also formulating a couple of other secret things that are coming in here specifically for our company. Can you talk just a little teeny bit about that?
Yeah. So I pulled up the chat too, by the way. I didn't know I could. So,
oh, perfect. Okay, good.
Is it okay if I answer a couple of questions?
Of course. Yeah.
The one question is there hemp in the product? There is not. There's no hemp in the product, Eric. Good question, but no. Does Govvi have exclusive rights to this product? The answer to that is what I did is I actually created a specific formula for Govvi.
Yeah.
And pretty much you've got the coolest
one yet.
Coolest one yet. Yeah. You really do. And it is designed really to go with Boost. They're the synergy of what they're going to do with the glutathione. And then it just makes a lot of sense. And you'll have even more, I'm from a farm, more better. I know it's not a word, but you'll have more better results. You'll have better results.
Together. I love that.
Yeah, synergistically.
So for our audience's benefit, what Zane is talking about is we actually have been testing another product that he formulated. It's called Boost. And we'll get more into details as that's available. It's going to be available soon, I heard. And it works in conjunction with this. So let's just, in closing, Zane, wrap up with tell me why wow is, we've already talked about what wow does, but then you're creating like Boost, and I know there's a couple of other things coming. How does that complement it? How specifically does Boost complement wow?
So Boost is it's designed to help your body with glutathione and glutathione production.
Right.
And glutathione is really, really important for metabolism. Right. So if I'm trying to help my body relearn how this relationship with food, and I'm trying to increase metabolism, and I'm trying to get rid of free radicals. I'm trying to be as healthy as possible. Those two just integrate really well together. So that was kind of the design. And like you said, maybe we've got something else.
Maybe a few other things.
Maybe that we're working on that might even.
I know that some of the folks that have tested both products together, because of the decrease of inflammation that happens as a result of that boost product, that's a big deal in weight loss too, right? That if you get your body back to the way it's supposed to be versus this inflamed mess inside, then you start to digest better. Everything starts to work better.
You nailed it. And honestly too, I will tell you that the one, let's talk about side effects for just a second. Side effects of WOW. One is you can be thirsty, right? It can make you feel thirsty.
Yeah.
Two, it can increase because we're boosting and it's kind of that we're boosting your levels of energy. So some people, maybe if you take it too late in the afternoon, you might struggle to fall asleep. I want you to fall asleep, so take it earlier in the day. What else? It can make you feel a little bit nauseous sometimes if you don't take it with food. I always say take it with food. And the other side effect, because if we turn off your CB1 receptor, is sometimes it can create a little bit of acid reflux.
Okay.
That's why boost really helps too, because boost is going to help with that kind of stuff. That together, those are like, I mean, if you've ever seen a commercial for any drug, it's like when they start listing all this, and if you got this, and I'm like going, and I'm going, well, okay, it might make you thirsty. And if you take it too late in the day, you might, you might keep you awake. You might get a little acid reflux. Like, there you go. I mean, that's really the biggest three things that we've struggled with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm pretty happy about that, quite honestly.
Yeah, as you should be.
Using natural ingredients that are really good, that are done well. And so I think that you guys are in for a treat. That's my, So again, if you're dehydrated, you're going to be thirsty. I want you drinking, right?
I get it.
We're pulling out the fat. So I want you to pee it out. Let's go. It is dehydrating.
Well, Zane, listen, I just want to thank you. I'm sure everybody here is super grateful for you taking some time. We know you're busy, and we appreciate you spending some time with us and just talking about this product. You have absolutely hit a home run. You really have. And we feel very privileged and grateful to have met you and had the opportunity to bring this to the marketplace, because it's going to change a lot of people's lives. I mean, it already has mine. I'm 55. I've been thin my entire life. And I turned 50 and I became slowly no longer thin. And I put on 35 pounds from the time I was 50 to 55. And it didn't matter what I did. Nothing moved it. It didn't matter. And I've lost 11 pounds. That's like seriously amazing. And what's interesting is I immediately went and fixed my hormones. I did all of the things, right? Spent a fortune on all of that. And then my hormone doctor wanted me to get on some program that was going to cost me about $400 a month. And I have often thought about that because while I might be able to afford that 400, I never did it because it was one of those things that I won't do. I won't be compliant. But I thought, how many people, they just don't have the ability to do that, right? And now we have this priced right. We have a platform to be able to share it with others, and frankly, get our product for free, can change our lives. So we're super grateful to you. Thank you so much for the time this morning. And we're looking forward to your other little secret things that are coming.
Thanks so much. Oh my gosh. I'm just reading this. I've lost 9 pounds. I feel amazing.
I know.
It's like, as for me as a formulator, like that is everything. That makes my day. Hearing you say you've lost 11 pounds and been struggling, like I don't know, like how, that just means so much to me. It makes me so happy to see people have such good success. And quite frankly, it's my honor. It's my privilege to be here. And thank you so much for helping me share this, because I don't know how to do that, right? I can make stuff, but I don't know how to get it to people. And I hope.
Well, you brought it to the right place. We all have really loud mouths. We're going to tell the world.
Good. I love it.
Thank you so much, Zane. Have a great
day.
Saturday. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. If you're watching this on a replay, just get back to the person who invited you here. You really want to try this product because it is absolutely extraordinary. Have a great day.
Thanks.